You check.
Well, hello and welcome everyone.
Hello.
We're back. We're back today because uh, there was a little bit more to say
What about?
about this topic,
Oh,
about this whole, new age conversation.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because, I believe, are perhaps a lot of misconceptions about the new age.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to come on here and maybe clear some of that up, get some clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe we should we check? Should we check the?
Yeah. Oh, we
Okay.
have
There.
people. All
Okay.
right.
So
Okay.
what's our topic
Yeah.
here?
So the title is continuing the conversation about the new age, and I want to have a conversation about love. I
Hmm.
want to talk about the golden age, maybe give a definition of the new age and what
Mm.
people understand it to be.
Mm.
And personally, I don't really like that term. I think it's fraught with convolution. It has a lot of misinterpretation, and so I wanted to just hey Julia,
Hello, Julia.
I wanted to have a conversation about it. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's start with giving the new age this term. Let's start with giving it a definition.
Well, why do you use that word?
Well, the only reason I really use it is because it's a term that's used, that's out there.
Mm.
Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even use it.
Mm.
Yeah. So, what do you see as the new age? How would you define it?
Well, what's the context? Are we saying within time or within a collective movement or within a personal practice? Like,
Hmm.
what's the context you're using this word?
Well, the way people use it now,
Hmm.
when they describe, hippies that are like into spirituality, and
Hmm.
they kind of like throw us into this category of the new age movement.
Mm.
That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Okay, so as
Yeah.
far as a cultural precept, right?
Okay.
So again, this is associating anyone that is, I guess, practicing spiritual related activities without structure. There's no governing body, there's no leader, there's no people are just dipping into whatever different religions or practices or rituals or even their own intuitive creations to express and explore their spirituality. And so people see that as different than having a structure, and so they categorize it as a new age person.
It's almost like a way to define something that's not definable.
Well, okay, so there are shared qualities like open-mindedness and exploring ideas and always changing sort of what you're practicing and exploring. Like those are shared qualities, I suppose. So, and some people, like, it's a very broad group, I guess you could say, within that sort of association, because so many people follow and listen to different things that other people have no idea about. So it's so broad. Does a category that broad really serve any? I guess you could say a person's open-mindedly exploring their spirituality, and that's how you use that word. I don't know what
But it
else.
seems like um, spiritual people
Mm.
who don't maybe conform to any certain religion are
Yes.
placed in this category of the new age.
Right.
Like, oh, he's a new ager because,
Well, you could call it religionless, a religionless person. Like, that's exploring spirituality still, not a religionless person that's not exploring spirituality. So that's sort of just,
huh.
it's very vague. It's a vague term.
Yeah.
What?
Well, one person actually commented on the YouTube uh, about the new age religion,
Hmm.
and they referenced, Sedona, and how a lot of people here are part of this new age religion. And
Well, there's
They have a very different experience of Sedona than I do, so I don't know.
Well, there's no okay. So
What is that?
There's a cultural community that shares different ideas, and people move in and out of different ideas and different groups, and so there is a cultural aspect to it, but it's not a religion. There's no governing body. There's no structure. There's
people. What about some of the churches here? Like there's Unity Church. I don't know if they call themselves a church or not, but it's kind of like a religion, sort of.
Well, but what do they call themselves?
Unity? I don't know.
Well, then it's a unity religion. It's not like if you're gonna start using
like,
the term.
Are they part of religion or are they part of New Age?
Right. You're using the term because it is broad. Like you're saying, it's like saying, well, if a box is a rectangle, then all rectangles must be like it's the sort of you're trying to inverse the association, and that's not. You're using the broad term on something specific. And then it's more specific than the broad term. So it's not very clear in what you're communicating.
So it's very interesting, I find, in this conversation just that we're having now, that I'm not any clearer now than when we first started out with this conversation, which I think is why it's so confusing for people looking at the New Age,
right,
coming up with all of these conclusions about what it is. Because it is kind of this nebulous, term for many different things that could qualify as being part of it.
Right. So the more specific you get with a very broad category, the more misidentification you're going to have because you're putting more specific terms and conditions on something that's not specific, that's broad.
Yeah.
So there's a mismatch.
Yeah.
And so in part, that's what you're observing is a mismatch of the terminology and the qualities.
And for me, it comes back to labels. Like, I have a little bit of resistance to being labeled. Why do we have to have a label? I would rather have a conversation and a living about love.
Yeah.
Like we can talk about love, but I would also am very interested in practicing that in my everyday life.
Right. So in that context, why are you still talking about those labels? Maybe that's more the question.
Well,
because if the label wasn't relevant, you just if someone throws racist terms at you and you're just like, oh, that's silly. Like you just don't talk about it anymore because it's not relevant. So what is bringing it up for you? I guess maybe.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm labeled a lot, so I guess I get used to kind of seeing me, put in different boxes or being defined a certain way.
Right.
And so that's probably why.
All right. So I guess you're working through a pattern about how others see you.
Could be.
Something like that. Cool.
Could be.
Could be.
Let's talk about the golden age, because this is another term that comes up when people talk about these times that we're in now. So my understanding of the golden age is a time that is unfolding, and it is a time of great love and light, and it's also bringing in the element of ancient wisdom that I referenced yesterday. And the reason why I qualify wisdom as ancient is because we have a linear understanding of time, and the history that we have been through that cultivates this wisdom within us. We have it from, very ancient times where we have learned lessons, we have garnered much wisdom and understanding. And the difference, for me, the difference between what you might call the New Age and the Golden Age is the Golden Age brings in the wisdom that we have learned throughout all of our lifetimes, all of our aspects, all of the realms and realities in which we reside, and brings that to this time right now, again, as we understand the concept of time, past, present, future. So the New Age, we may have gotten some wisdom and people are practicing it, but the Golden Age, for me at least, implies that we've learned our lessons. For example, with power, we know now not to misuse power because of what can happen.
Right. So you're talking about like an applied sort of growth from this exploration of, diverse expression of spirituality.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, the foundation of all of that is love. Because if we don't have that, then it is a bunch of spiritual hippies running around, trying to figure things out and, experimenting with the occult or whatever. And I don't mean to say that in a derogatory way. I know how that kind of sounded, but really what we need to get back to is love.
Mm.
And this is something that I feel we can all have in common. So regardless of what religion you are, what belief system, what understanding,
mm-hmm.
love is a thing that can bring us all together. And mm-hmm. that's what I'm really about. That's what I believe the Golden Age is about. And that's really the platform that I stand on and how I live my life and what I want to share with people.
Mm.
Instead of the separation of labels and, oh, well, you're this and you're that. And so we disagree and whatever. Like, no, at our essence, all of us, we have the capability and capacity to be love, to practice love, to share love, to receive love, to demonstrate love with each other. And that's really the message that I want to bring from what the conversation we started yesterday.
Okay. So how do you express that love? What is that quality of love? And how do you share that when others are still judging and labeling you?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's about the energy that I embody towards myself and towards them. So first, it starts with unconditionally loving myself, not judging myself.
Yeah.
And when I release and transmute all those judgments of myself, I can then bring unconditional love to others. And then I can see where they're at, so if someone is poking and prodding me, through a YouTube comment or whatever, it simply shows me where they're at. That's it. And then I can offer my compassion and love for them. And not saying that I'm greater than or they're greater than or, not any of that, taking all of that out of the equation, but just being there in love for them.
So again, what is love? Like if someone hasn't had this sort of understanding, like, because there is a cultural understanding of a, two-partner relationship, having affection and attachment being love, but what is your expression? What are you trying to express in that your idea of love?
Well, love is another one of those kind of undefinable things. It's easier sometimes to say what love is not. Love does not have attachment. Love does not have conditions. And guys, I'm not perfect. Hello, I'm a work in progress here. Just, make sure we're all clear on that. Love doesn't have judgments. Love is not constricted. Love is very expansive. Love allows, love accepts, love receives, love gives. Yeah. Do you have a definition you'd like to share that's more clear than mine?
Oh, well, so my idea is that what we experience as love outside of the sort of emotional concept of it is at the very depth of what we are as an individual, however you term that, as a soul, as an infiniteness, an infinite individual, however you want to use the words for it. Within that, when you feel that absolute resonance in that space, that feeling of resonance is an expression of love, because that resonance is total acceptance, it's total bliss, it's just absolute resonance. And so that's sort of what because it is outside of a human 3D emotional spectrum, it gets translated into what we associate with the highest and best emotions, right? Within that resonance, and that's how it interacts and shares.
It's a good way to describe it, because love is not actually an emotion. Like some people qualify love as an emotion, and it's truly not. It's outside of the emotional spectrum.
Yeah,
it's deeper, wider, more expansive.
Right, and so this is why love permeates physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and multidimensional stuff, because it's just pure resonance, and it takes different expressions, right? So a physical expression of love, a mental expression of love, an emotional expression of love, energetic expression of love, spatial, dimensional, universe, alignments, geometries, sound, dance, all these different expressions. And when it's in absolute resonance, that experience is love. Love is not like it's very dynamic and flowing. It's very amorphous, right? It has
So let me ask
any quality in these different expressions.
let me ask this: how can we show love in a very tangible way to the people that are watching this or with us now or watching this? How can we, like, when I go to the grocery store, this is one of my favorite ways to practice love. I love to look at the cashier in the eyes and smile, and maybe, they wear the name tag, so like maybe acknowledge them by name, and that's just like my little expression of practicing love in everyday life. Now the people watching the replay and the people who have commented on the other videos and such, how can we let them know how much we love them?
Well, it's simply what you emanate. It's your radiance. It's your presence. It's that there's a physical sensation. There's the mental intention. There's the emotional feeling. There's the energetic expansion and radiation. Like, all those things go into your expression and presence and sharing of love. It's not just one thing. And so again, connecting with all those parts to express more love, to have more love come through your vessel.
Because I can type the words, I love you, in a response to one of their comments. But words for me don't do it justice.
Okay. Well, and there is a certain level of acceptance that they will only receive what they're ready to receive. If they don't have the concept or understanding or haven't developed that range of interpretation of that energy, it just won't translate to them, and you have to accept that that's where they're at, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well said, Max.
Thank you.
Very clear. I like it. Thanks. So if you're with us right now, please know that I love you. And if you're watching this a replay somewhere, please know that I love you. And if you would like to feel that love, you can just look into my eyes, because I'm just sending you so much love. And I appreciate you. Even if you have a different viewpoint than I do, if you have a different opinion, different belief system, whatever. My intention is truly for us to come together in love, regardless of different opinions or different beliefs. So if that's something you'd like to receive, here it is from my heart to yours. Anything else you want to say?
No. I mean, is there anything else that's interesting that you're inspired in this moment?
I was just inspired to share my love. Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful.
That's really what was on my heart this morning. Reading through the comments that people left after they watched the video, and really not understanding what I was truly trying to convey yesterday. I felt it really important to bring it back to love, because that's the essence of all of this. That's the essence that runs through all of my work and everything that I offer. That's who I strive to be. And it's not just words for me. Like, I really want to demonstrate that to you. So again, video isn't the same as sitting here in the living room having a chat and being able to feel my essence and my energy. But for those of you who would like to receive, you probably can feel it through the video.
Well, your love transcends time and space and density and dimension.
All love. It's
all
not
love.
Exclusive to me.
Each,
all love does that.
The love of each and the love of all.
Yeah.
So each is capable, and all are capable.
Thank you, Max, for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Facebook land, YouTube land. Love you. Mwah. Right hand. We're so cheesy and fun. Okay, love you guys.
Have a great time.